Happy Thanksgiving to one and all from us to you here at Beaverfest and the Just Beavin podcast. 2 more weeks remaining in our regular season before we get to our fourth playoffs. Hard to believe you're for this league. We're already getting toward the tail end of it. Andy, JP, the Beav, back here with you for another episode. Recording this on Wednesday. This will air on Thanksgiving. So whether you tune in on Thanksgiving or the day after, happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours from us. Fellas, before we get into the episode this week, a couple of questions for you. JP, I'll start with you. In terms of what are you thankful for? Are you a turkey or ham guy? And then what is your top Thanksgiving side dish?
What am I thankful for? I'm thankful for this league and the great constituents that we have. Special big shout out to the South Division for really sticking together and planning what's expected to be a great draft. I know they couldn't have done it without their fearless commissioner, but I'm just proud that they were able to step up on their own and really shine for the league. So I'm thankful for not only the South but the North as well for being, very responsive and committed to wanting to attend what the South has put together for us and showing no backlash and just the camaraderie that this league provides. I'm very thankful for that. I'm a ham guy over turkey. Although if you were to ask me on a sub sandwich, I prefer turkey.
Yeah.
But I like a cooked ham better than a cooked turkey. And then mac and cheese, I think, is the only correct answer for favorite side. If none other than that, than potatoes, mashed potatoes. But otherwise, you're striking out with anything else.
All good answers all around. Beef, how about you, my man?
Yeah, I'm thankful for this podcast, getting on here with the boys every week. It's nice to see everyone catching up. Thankful for my girlfriend, thankful for my family, thankful for, feast week, college basketball from 10 a.m. to 11:59 at night. So, I mean, you know me, I know it's a football podcast, but I love some college basketball. So, couldn't ask for anything else. You know, I'm a turkey guy. I don't know, I just like it. But I do like ham, like JP said. I like rather have ham on my sandwiches though, so it's kind of weird. So, sides, this is kind of a hot take, but I like deviled eggs. That's my go-to side. So,
Oh,
yeah, that's
I
my
don't know about
go-to.
that one, Beef. I don't
I
know
love
about
it.
that.
I love it.
I don't know about that one, but I respect it. Before we dive in, I'll pitch in my
I
answers
was
real
gonna
quick.
say, what are your answers? We can't go without yours.
I'm thankful for this league as always. I like to say that this is more. Jake said it at the draft when he gave his speech as a member of the council. This is more than a league. This is a family. This is a brotherhood. I like to think all of us in this league are 13 of my closest friends. I mean, even though we obviously all don't live near each other, we literally text and talk every single day. I'm thankful for the relationships we have here in this league and how much fun we can have talking about football or anything else but football. We have our daily chats about other stuff. So thankful for these guys. Thankful for this podcast that we get to come on here and talk about football every single week. Thankful for family. Thankful for friends. Thankful for my profession, my job, what I get to do every single day. Thankful for all that. I'm a turkey over a ham guy. A good smoked turkey. I will say, ever since I've had smoked turkey for Thanksgiving, I can never go back to just having it out of the oven. It is cracked. I absolutely love it. And then favorite side dish is either mashed potatoes or stuffing, one of those two. Mac and cheese is good too. It's just I grew up not really having mac and cheese at Thanksgiving, which is kind of tough. I'm hoping going to my aunts and uncles tomorrow. I'm hoping they got some mac and cheese too. But all are good answers. Definitely not deviled eggs. I don't even know if I've ever had deviled eggs at Thanksgiving. That might be. I don't know if that's a me thing. I don't know if I've missed out on that, but those are my answers as well. And like we said, happy Thanksgiving from all of us. But we got some fantasy football to dive into from our league here this past week, week 12. And this was a big one, JP and Drew. We look at seeing some more playoff implications get moved around. And JP, your matchup against Matt affected both yourself and then me and Drew as well. A dominant win against the Manziel Mafia. Your thoughts, man? Cracking 150 this week.
Yeah, I've put myself in a position where I might run into Matt in the playoffs, and quite frankly, if this week has taught me anything, it's I don't even want the 1 or the 2 seed at this point. I want Matt. I want Matt in the playoffs. So I'm considering not throwing openly the game in week 14 against Ty, but I'm thinking of trotting out a lesser lineup and hoping that Ty can beat me if that's what I need to face Matt in the playoffs. And that will also assist in my Dade draft stock. But I think I've convinced myself in the past 72 hours that playing Matt in the playoffs is the best case scenario that could happen. And from a team standpoint, I just put up 100. This has really been the story of my team, and I say this every week because I really do. I feel like a broken record. But I mean, if you look at my team, Lamar 7 points, Jetta's 9 points, Diggs 4 points, and we still put up 151. That's the kind of stuff when I mean, it's week 13 or week 12. You'd hope it all meshes by now, but when it all comes together, I'm okay with 151 in a playoff match. If I put
Yep.
that up and lose, I'm not mad by any means with 151. But you get you bump Lamar up to 16, Jetta's up to 14, and Diggs up to 10. Yeah, that's an extra 25 points. I'm scoring 175, and now we're talking about a top two scorer of the week, and that's that's what I really gathered from this week. I'm happy with the win. Um, the only reason I'm even sad is because, like I said, I want to play Matt in the playoffs. So if this possibly harmed his playoff spot, I'm going to be a little disappointed. No insult to injury to either of you, but I would definitely rather play Matt in the playoffs than either of your teams.
I think that's a
And
compliment to Drew and I more than anything.
yeah, I just meant like not to be like, but I'm rooting against you so you guys don't make the
Oh,
playoffs kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I'm happy with the performance. Kareem Hunt, I mean, 104 yards. Come on, I don't even
okay.
care that they gave him 30 carries. 104 yards. Brissett, another 50 pass attempts. They don't even want to run the ball at all. Bowers finally getting back involved. They finally fired Satan himself, Chip Kelly. Things should be a lot better there. Stefanski's ripping it with Shadur. Not sure how I feel about that. We'll see. Dylan Gabriel really liked those tight ends. It was really fun. I was hoping to see a little more from Diggs against Cincinnati, but Diggs he's been up and down, and honestly, that kind of goes back to his time in Buffalo. Really, he could go for. I mean, he doesn't have the same ceiling anymore, but he now he's like a 18-4 guy, but he used to be 8 to 30. But that's kind of always been the story of his career. But long story short, I'm super excited about this win. And one little tidbit here, I guess I can talk about it in the previews, but we're on par to have four different teams break the all-time win record. Um, and obviously it's going to go to Boyer or Frank, or they're going to tie. But we have four teams right now on pace to break the all-time win record, so that's fun.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess I'll jump in with more of my thoughts. And I do have a question for you, JP. But you kind of hit on it with McCaffrey continues to just be incredible. Like literally every single week. I feel like we've
Unbelievable.
broken record hitting that every single time. And yeah, Kareem Hunt turning back the clock. That was really fun to watch. Still trying to figure out Jefferson and McCarthy boys. And we'll talk about more about him later on when we get to that match. But just brutal, brutal stuff. You mentioned Brissett. The only question I have is what's the concern level for you on Lamar Jackson from a fantasy standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty vocal about my concern for the Ravens since Lamar's return, really. And even Henry, like he got the two touchdowns and that led to the 22 points, but 20, what is it, 22 carries and 21 carries and 64 yards. I mean, that by no means is that's a terrible average. A 3.1, that's terrible. They play Cincinnati this week, and then they play Cincinnati again in what would be the championship week in the playoffs. So this week is really what's going to tell me what my ceiling is. If they struggle against the Bengals, I'm probably phoning it in. Probably asking Boyer for his address and sending him the belt now, because I will no longer own it at that point. If the Ravens can't play, my season is in jeopardy. We'll see on Thanksgiving. Which another thing, Thanksgiving slate this year is awesome. I think all three games have the potential to be really fun games. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that
so,
would.
to, so,
Oh,
so a more accurate answer is I'm relatively concerned about Lamar from a fantasy standpoint, and this week is going to be the what's going to tell me.
yeah, Beav, do you have any? Were you gonna add something on Matt's team? We haven't really hit on Matt yet.
Yeah, I was just, and nothing to throw shade at Matt. I'm just really interested why he didn't start John Mechie this week. I mean, they said that they were going to start Tyron Taylor so they could see what receivers are going to stick with this offense next year, and they're going to sling the rock. That's why they bench Fields, and then therefore he starts. And as you guys know, I hate starting guys on Thursday night. A bubble player on Thursday night, Terrell Shavers. I just don't understand why we're starting him over John Mechie, who had 18 points and a touchdown again. So I think it's back-to-back weeks he had a touchdown. So I just don't really understand that concept. But then again, I wanted to touch on Matt's team. Matt's team's banged up right now. You got Baker, you got Josh Jacobs. Yes, he's coming back this week. They said he is playing, but I mean, a lot of question marks for this team. And now, I mean, is there a world that Geno Smith gets benched? I mean, he looks awful out there. I know the line is awful, but I mean,
I
there's
think he should have been benched weeks ago. Like
I
he
agree.
legitimately is terrible.
He looks bad. But then I mean, you look at it. Trey Benson, is he ever going to come back? Is he going to make that much of a difference on Matt's team? I don't think so. Monty just looks really irrelevant in that offense right now. It's the Jamar Gibbs show. I mean, he is fantastic. I mean, I can't even lie. I mean, I think he had like 180 yards on the ground this week. I mean, it's just insane. But I don't know. Baker with his shoulder, it's really, and I'm not even saying this because it's really the way to Matt's matchup is going to be the 7 seed. It's going to be me or Matt. And if Matt doesn't have Baker for that matchup and he has to start Bryce and Gino, I really think he's going to lose to Wade. And we'll get to that next week. Obviously, we'll see what happens this week. But I truly believe if he has to start those two guys, he's going to lose.
Yeah, I guess I can kind of round out my thoughts here on Matt. Solid week for his running backs. That Bryce Young game, just a that Monday Night Football game in general, guys, was not a whole lot of fun. And that was actually a time I was
Oh,
able to watch an entire primetime game. The bottom of Matt's lineup card, if we look down, it leaves a lot to be desired. I know Drew mentioned the injuries and kind of getting banged up, but those bottom four spots, man, I mean, that's just not something you're looking for as a team that's trying to make the playoffs. And just in general for Matt going as far under his projection. I think it's about 50 points under his projection. This is about as brutal of a week as one could have. Nothing really went right. The Mayfield injury really sucks because, I mean, that's Sunday Night Football. You look at those two quarterbacks, Stafford and Mayfield, those are guys who are gritty. They're warriors. They play through pretty much everything. So if it was bad enough to take Baker out of the game, you know it's serious. And that is a guy that Matt just traded for. Does not bode well down the road. So that's all I have. If you guys have anything else on
hey,
this matchup.
JP, I really want to add one more thing to you. Are you concerned that Jettas won't hit 20 points again this season with Brosmer and 9 back at quarterback?
I actually feel a little better that Brosmer's out there. I mean, he's the best player. He's the best wide receiver in the league. At some point in time, Kevin O'Connell's just got to be like, this guy's got to touch the football.
I
Just get it to him
100%
in open
agree.
space.
I
Yeah,
mean,
whether it's screens or whatever. I mean, nine has been awful, and I'm a nine supporter or an advocate. I don't know how you can be a supporter in this time. There's nothing to support, but I still think nine has at least the tools. But if Kevin O'Connell can't figure it out, I don't think there's a coach in the league who's going to be able to figure it out. I mean, we saw what he did with Darnold. Obviously, Darnold's carried that over. But the thing is, and I saw a post that Jettis has been able to produce with Wentz, Nick Mullins, Josh Dobbs, a plethora of
Yeah.
perennial backup quarterbacks.
He's been QB proof.
yes.
Yes, and now we get in this top 12 pick, and he can't get the guy the ball. That's a problem. I feel a little better that Brosmer's starting. Obviously, we'll see, but it can't get much worse. So
Hey, next Brock Purdy, man. You never know.
I'm gonna lean on the no part to that. But hey, I love the optimism, Beav. And yeah, JP is a good one for you to get back on the right foot this past week. And this is another really interesting one to affect some things in the seating on certain sides. Frank in double-digit wins now. He joins the 10-win club along with Boyer at 10-2. And Zippy drops down to 8-4. Beav, I'll let you start here. Your takeaways from this matchup and what was originally projected to be a Zippy win entering the week. Instead, Frank beats him by 30.
Yeah, we look right at the bat, QB position. I think this is Cam Ward's best performance, even though they take the L against Seattle. I believe this is his highest points this year with
undoubtedly,
23.
this might be the first time he
Um,
scored double digits.
yeah,
It helps when you attempt 42 passes.
that does help. But I want to go the guy we talked about earlier, Jamar Gibbs. I mean, he is just unbelievable. I mean, 2 touchdowns, 11 receptions with 45 yards. Well, he had 3 touchdowns. I didn't even see that. With 219 yards on the ground. This isn't with receptions on the ground. I mean, that is just madness. But we go back to Frank's point. I'll touch base on that Seattle running back room. It's just hard to pick and choose who you want to start which week. It's a Kenneth Walker week or it's a Char week. I mean, you don't know who's going to get that goal line carry. And I thought for weeks it was just going to be Charb. But then again, you see that it's Kenneth Walker sometimes and him. So it's really a mix. But I want to go all the way down to Stevenson at his flex. I'm just saying I'm baffling right now as a Henderson owner of that New England backfield. I just don't know what to think of it anymore. Like I don't know.
We talk
I
about the two most confusing backfields in fantasy
yeah.
football, and
I
Frank
mean,
has to deal with them both on a weekly
yes.
basis.
Hell,
Yes.
I'd even say 3 if we Chubb. There was one week Marks went off, and then the next week Chubb's got 75% of the carries. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
frustrating.
But I'll touch base on Jake's side real quick. We touched base on it last week, Yak, in the previews. Rome, once again has 8 points. He didn't find the end zone. We said that he's not gonna be double digit guy if he doesn't get in the end zone. But AJ Brown had a big week, 25 points. He found the end zone with 100 plus yards. Jake's gotta love to see that, and Kittle's getting back in the rhythm. So other than that, I mean, good week for Frank. Zip put up good numbers, just wasn't enough.
Yeah, JP.
yeah, Frank gets a win. Probably going to win the division. I refuse to believe he feels good about it, though. Gibbs scored 55, a third of his points, and he still only scored 165. Usually, when you see a team that has a guy who's scoring in the 50s, they're hovering around 200 points or they break the 200-point mark. You just had a guy scored 55 points, and the other 9 guys on your team could only muster 110 combined points. If Gibbs has a regular week, Frankie loses. If Gibbs scores his normal, 22,
Yeah.
this is an L. And so I mean, obviously you take anyone you can get, but looking at the bigger picture here, Frank's looking at a matchup with the big dogs potentially in the first round of the playoffs, or even the Bandage Beavers, and I don't think he'd be competent, or he'd be happy if Gibbs doesn't have 55. There's a lot of question marks for Frank's team. I credit to him, he's 10-2, but this is a very questionable 10-2. I feel like Frank hasn't had a whole lot of explosive weeks, and that could be wrong, but there's some question marks to be had. And quick echo on Zippy, like Drew said, Williams had no points though. You scored 134 with Mason Rudolph and Williams dudding in your lineup. Sean Tucker did nothing because they got blown out, and you still scored 134 points. I'd feel pretty good about Zip heading into the playoffs as the 4 or 5 seed. And Boyer should be a little worried if having to play potentially me or Zippy in the second round. So
Yeah, rounding things out, kind of adding on for Frank, Trey McBride, if I want to look at a positive, man, he is him. And I came across a video on TikTok the other day of a fantasy football expert. Keep in mind, this was before the season started from redraft standpoint. He said, I'm taking George Kittle above McBride. I just don't see how McBride makes this work this year. And that is just like obviously in hindsight, we can look back, but even at the time, I feel like everyone loved Trey McBride coming into the year, and he has just lived up to it, guys, week in and week out. He is quietly he is the tight end one, right? Am I blanking there? Or is he still
I
the top
believe he
tight end?
Oh,
is.
there's
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
just unbelievable what he's been able to put together.
Yeah.
And
Actually, what Brady O'Donnell sent us a statistic the other day that, oh my gosh, Jake Ferguson was the tight end 2 going into week 12, and Kyle Pitts was the tight end 18. Those two were closer in fantasy points than
was it?
Ferguson was to Trey McBride as the one.
Yeah, I mean,
So
he's just home run, and Frank got that as a free agent, I believe. I think he picked him up off the scrap heap. He didn't have to
let's go
draft him
take a
or
look.
trade for him or anything. I think one of our old league members who's no longer in the league cut him. Yes, that is true. If my memory serves correct, that is.
Thanks, Keegan.
And funny enough, you talk about Jake Ferg. I own Jake Ferg, and that's exactly how I picked up Jake Ferg. Someone who I think is no longer in this league either cut him loose or he was just out there and picked him up. That just shows you that tight ends can kind of bob and weave and find their way. Bottom 3 spots for Frank's lineup, very worrisome. But as you mentioned, JP, given what Jake did this week and having Gibbs kind of make up for those other 3 spots, it doesn't matter. But something to keep in mind moving forward. And for Zippy, looking at Dak Prescott, that Dallas and Philly game got really exciting in the second half. And that's the type of performances Jake needs from Dak to really fight and hang and give himself a chance to win playoff games this year. Brown and Cook did their part. James Cook continues to stack together good weeks in that Buffalo offense. Sean Tucker, you mentioned him coming off a really good week. It's weird, that Tampa running back room with an injured Bucky Irving doesn't feel right, and you don't really know what decisions to make until he's back. I believe Bucky's going to be back this week. Just in time to play me, which is awesome. But that'll make things a bit easier on Jake moving forward. But I agree with you, JP, that looking at Jake's week and having Rudolph and Williams, if you're still able to break 130 with essentially 8 guys and even Tucker out as well, you're in a good position moving forward. So congrats to Frank for double-digit wins. That's a really hard thing to do in this league, especially now with more teams competing. And yeah, he'll look to try and make himself 12-2. I'll start us off here, Brady. taking on Crook this week. And Brady's 5-7, getting another win here on the season, 118-104, the final. Both teams overshooting their projections. Brady by 4, Crook got it by 14. Looking at Brady's team this week, Rice and Shakir put in the work at the wide receiver spots. That this is what he's been looking for. Rashee Rice is going to be a problem for many years to come as a young receiver, both from an IRL standpoint and a fantasy standpoint. This is a good guy to own and definitely can be one of those pieces for Brady that's a cornerstone moving forward. Good to see Sam Darnold back on track for Brady. Really couple of rough weeks leading up to week 12, but definitely turning a corner. And Seattle's offense is too good. I know they play Tennessee, say what you want, but Seattle's offense has just been too good for Darnold not to put together these strong weeks. And shout out to Isaiah Hodgins getting a start in the big 2025. Not only getting a start, but scoring a touchdown. That's just fantastic. I'm really worried about Brock Purdy, though, guys. That was horrible to watch.
That's bad, man.
That was really bad, dude. Like, not good whatsoever. I know he's coming back off the injury, but the 2 of those 3 interceptions were horrible balls, like not even close. It was, not very good. For Crook and his super flex, he started Shadur this week in his first career start. Perfect timing. Congrats to Crook and Shadur. He's been riding that stock for a while. Wandale the GOAT put up 30, and I know that made Crook really happy. And 9 is horrible. We've already mentioned this. JJ McCarthy, just an awful week. What was the stat with Jamarcus Russell? I should have came more prepared with this. There was some stat looking within like this century, ranking 852 quarterbacks in a certain nugget, and JJ was 851. The only guy worse than him was Jamarcus Russell at 852. This is really bad football that he's been playing, guys. But yeah, I mean, good week for Brady. Getting another victory in the books, and Crook is losing, which is exactly what he wants to do. Beef.
Yeah, great performance by Wandale, Crook's guy, 30 bomber. I think it does help that he's got Jameis throwing 100 passes to him every week now, which is I
Dude,
love
that was
Jameis.
him scoring a touchdown was awesome. That made my day.
Oh, it was great.
They played it on the Jumbotron at the Bears game, and the crowd was going absolutely nuts. It was awesome. They kept giving score updates into the Lions game, and the crowd was going nuts. It was actually pretty cool.
Did you guys see like the mic'd up about the players like on the benches?
I didn't. I'll need to watch that.
I saw the Chiefs' reaction to it.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh my God, they're gonna beat them! Oh my goodness!" Or he's gonna beat them,
Real quick, Beef. I have my stat now. The 851 out of 852. It was qualified passers since 2000 and EPA per dropback. That was the stat. And McCarthy is ranked 851. Russell's 852. You can continue, Drew. I just wanted to get my stat out there because what I said earlier didn't make any sense without the stat behind it.
No, you made a good you hit on it, but I just want to say, I could really see as much as I dogged on him a little bit in the earlier season, I could really see Tez Johnson now having a role in Tampa Bay going forward. I mean, he looks pretty good. So I could really see them cutting Godwin because God, like you said, Yak, or someone said it, he literally just looks fat and slow now. I mean, he just looks really bad. Not really bad, but he just doesn't look like the same after the injury. But other than that, I really just want to say, is Keon Coleman going to play another game this season, or is he just going to be a cut? Because I heard they're going to cut him by like.
I don't know, man. It sucks. This is a guy we talked about a lot earlier on in the pod this year. We continually bring him up throughout the season. This is a low point for him. This really sucks.
Yeah, and it's really him and Matthew Golden, man. I don't even know with him, dude. I mean, they took him in the first round. He didn't play, yes, but I mean, I don't know, man. That's for Crux side for what he gave up for him. That's just, I don't know. But what do you got, JP?
Well, my first comment will be on what Crook gave up. I mean, he got a second and a third for Judkins.
Oh, I thought you go first. My bad.
He got Golden a second and a third for Judkins. The two things I want to say for Brady's side are congrats on a well-fought season. You're a couple draft picks away from actually being a real playoff team and a real threat. I mentioned this in an earlier episode, but want to reiterate it again. I think me and Brady have the fairest trade in league history, in which he got a first, a second, and Rashee Rice, and I got Christian McCaffrey. I don't think there's been a fairer trade ever made in this league. It not only worked out for him and his long-term rebuild, won me a championship and potentially might win me another one. So shout out Brady on that. On a more negative note, Brock Purdy trade might be one of the worst trades you've ever made in this league. They showed a stat during the broadcast that Purdy this season on passes over 15 yards has 1 touchdown and 6 interceptions. And that was right before he threw the third interception. So now it'll be 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions on passes over 15 yards. That's unplayable. That is an unplayable statistic. If you are targeting 15 yards down the field and you're the chances you're going to throw a pick outnumbers the touchdown ratio by that much, we have a big problem. They paid him. I think most people would agree that Purdy was never worth that contract in the first place. A lot of people thought he was a game manager. I think Mac Jones coming in and averaging 312 yards as a quarterback and 3 touchdowns a game shows a lot more than it does about the system than Purdy as a quarterback. So my panic button on Purdy was going off last year. It was going off this year, and it's still going off now. On Crook's side, Dylan Sampson might genuinely already be the best receiving back in the entire league. I feel like it's on a weekly basis. We sit here and we talk about how great of a receiving threat Dylan Sampson is. Takes a pass and goes 64 yards to the house this week. They have something there with Judkins. Unfortunately, he'll never be getting the carries, but we could be looking at a James White-esque coach or position here. Sorry, not coach. Position here going forward. And then shout out to Tez Johnson, as Drew mentioned, finding the end zone. The guy just keeps finding the end zone. So I think, Andy, you said it, though. Crook got what he wanted, a loss, and Brady won competently, which, he wants to see moving forward. So
I want to give James White a shout as well. Beef, he coached on the staff at Illinois this past year. He just got the head coaching job at Bennett Academy in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. So shout out to him. It's a fun little connection there. And yeah, Brady improves to 5-7. Good points made all around there. And we move to another matchup where Jack gets his second win of the season, JP, and he didn't really have to sweat this one out. It was a bit tighter on the projections entering, but just a complete blowout of Dade. And Dade's season continues to be up and down, back and forth.
yeah, sorry, Dade, you should have traded Chuba Hubbard when you had the chance. Jack, I really don't have much to say on your team besides the Patriot connection, even though May didn't have that great of a game. Hunter Henry, I think, is just going to linger around the league until he wants to retire. The guy keeps doing it on a yearly basis. Also, Michael Wilson apparently is the greatest receiver in NFL history now. Might as well trade Marvin Harrison to the Bears or something for like a 7th-round pick. I don't know, just a suggestion. Daniel Jones finally had an all right game. They played a great defense, and he still put up 17. I think that trade will be justified in the future, especially once he inks that extension. But beyond that, Jack, you probably just played yourself out of the second pick, so kudos to you.
Eve, what do you got?
I don't really got much on here. Jordan Love still stinks. Very smelly guy. Jalen Coker, he looks good. Shout him, Beer
Yep.
Fest follower. Other than that, I don't really got anything besides shout Hunter Henry for having a big game. Looks,
Yeah, literally putting up a third of Jack's points. You already mentioned Coker, Drew. That was going to be another shout I had on Jack's end. I want to say, despite the interception that was mainly his fault on Sunday Night Football that turned into a touchdown, Cade Otton, he's not going to light the world on fire, but he's a sneaky, consistent. He'll get you anywhere from 8 to 12 points, I think, on a weekly basis. I don't mind him for a team like Jack's. Maybe not for a team that's trying to make a current push for the championship, but he's a nice guy to have on a rebuilding squad. We already mentioned the Linsanity run for Michael Wilson. I picked him up in a redraft, Boyer's redraft league, and I desperately needed receiver help in that league. So the fact that he's been able to come through along with JSN for me has been fun. Mentioned Hubbard, got a little bit more attention this past week. We'll talk about Rico when we get to you, Drew, at what that weird dynamic in the Panthers running back room. And you get goose eggs from Patrick and Tommy Tremble. This was a pretty boring matchup for the most part. And Jack took care of business. So that's all I got as well. We're 4 matchups into our recaps. We get into Luke picking up another victory against Tigers Wood in Wade. Drew, what do we got here?
George Pickens showing that he can be a receiver one, I think. I mean, he looks really good, man. CD, man, as a CD owner, looks like he's regressed. I mean, just a bunch of drops since he's came back from the injury. I don't know if he's not healthy and he's just playing through another injury, not telling anybody, but he just does not look like he was in his whole career. He just looks really lost. But we'll touch on that when we get to my matchup. Bijan coming together, 14 points. He looks pretty smooth with old Kirky. How about Trevor Etienne? Or Travis Etienne, my bad. Having a good game. Other than that, Luke, have a great week. DJ Moore finally came alive with a 23 point, with two tutties. Not too bad. But Wade's side, I don't really have anything. Emmanuel Wilson played a good role for him. Really scored most of his points in this one, with 26 points for him. And yeah, what do you got, JP?
Other than what you said, I think there's a real potential here that a team maybe like Kansas City turns the keys over to Kenneth Gainwell. I don't know what his contract was in Pittsburgh, so I'm not sure if there's an out after this year, if it was only a 1 year deal, if it was long term there. But the guy has been extremely efficient and he's looked really good. And on top of being efficient running the ball, he's a great receiving back who pass blocks. So he's going to have a role in the league for a long time coming. And on top of that, he's still only 26. So I mean, there's a lot to like with Kenneth Gainwell there. And Wade might have found something there with a potential starting running back headed into next season. Unfortunately, Xavier Worthy for the 101 was that's just absolutely terrible. I didn't understand it then. I don't understand it now. Um, yeah, it just doesn't make much sense. Really, he's done absolutely nothing since you've acquired him. I actually want to highlight how bad he's been, really all season. So you traded for a guy who's peaked at 17 and has been all the way down at 5.5. So, congrats to you on that one. Thanks for planning the draft, though.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add here. Really, just the running backs for Wade this past week. Manuel Wilson, mentioned him, stepped up nicely in the absence of Jacobs. George Pickens is him, guys. I really hope for, well, maybe not for Luke's sake because he's an opponent, not my team, but for general people who own George Pickens in any type of dynasty format, they better be praying that the Cowboys get a deal done and that he sticks around beyond this year. It's nice to see DJ Moore get rolling on Luke's side as well. And then I just want to talk about this one guy before we head to break, before previewing or recapping rather my matchup this week and then Drew's matchup as well. Jerry Jeudy has been so confusing this year, and it's tough that he's a Brown, right? Because I feel like we say a lot about just any, dynamic offensive guy for Cleveland and how weird it's been. But I feel like Jeudy specifically, this has been so confusing how to operate with him. I've owned him in two redraft leagues. I had to cut him in one of those two leagues. I thought this was going to be the year for him. I thought he was going to really step up and rise above all. I should have realized that there was no quarterback plan set in stone in Cleveland. I shouldn't have trusted that. Do you guys think it's the quarterbacking issues and the cycle there that's the problem, or do you think there's something legitimately off with Jeudy himself?
I think it's obviously it's both. No quarterback play extremely hampers a wide receiver's potential production. But Jeudy has always had a drop problem, and that hasn't left this year. He's dropped a lot of balls as well, and I'm sure we've all seen the clip by now of what the hell was he doing on that fumble. He catches the bomb from Shadur, and then he's got open field that he just slows down and starts dicking around and gets stripped from behind. So I don't know. I'm sure he requests a trade in the offseason will be my guess. He got his money from Cleveland. Now whoever else trades for him is going to have to pay him. My guess is he asks out.
That's what I would. You hit it on the money. That's what I would assume. It's just he wants a new change of scenery. Could we? Honest to God, it probably won't happen. But could we see a Jeudy for Coleman swap straight up?
I
No,
don't know.
Judy's the same receiver as Shakir. You need
Yeah, I don't
someone who can
know.
play on the outside.
I feel like Buffalo would want any type of draft capital that they could get back for Coleman instead. They already have a ton of pass catchers in their room. I don't know if the swap would really do anything for them. In this way, then with the pick, they could maybe try and get
Cedric Tillman
someone that
for
they
for
care
Keon
about.
Coleman. That's what I would see.
That probably fits the mold a little bit better in terms of straight up swaps. But that's all we got for Luke and Wade this week. We still got to recap my matchup and Beeves as well. That's coming up on the other side of this break here on the Just Beavin podcast. Two more matchups to recap from week 12 before we get to our week 13 previews on the Just Beavin podcast. Matchup number 6 of 7. It'll be me and Ty from this past week. And guys, I had to sweat this one out a bit with not having my two Chargers and Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen along with Devon Achane, who has been my number one scorer all season. He was on a bye. Both were on a bye this past week. Still able to get it done, 131.99, near my projection, kind of what I expected this week. And Ty didn't give me too much of a scare. It's another one of those examples of we did what we needed to. We got out with a victory. Darnell Mooney clutched up. I think this is only the second time I've started him all season at that in week 1. He had that big 49-yard touchdown and that victory against the Saints. The Alvin Kamara and Trevor Lawrence trade is starting to look really, really bad for me. Like really, really bad. And I still don't regret it though, and I'll walk through why in a week like this, right? If I don't make that trade, Burrow is still hurt and I don't have Herbert. Like I needed a quarterback. I need a quarterback to play. Fortunately, Lawrence was just that guy available. And I was hoping, I don't know, Kamara would kind of look like any version of himself that isn't this. So I don't regret it. It just kind of sucks that it hasn't turned out the way that I necessarily wanted to. Emeka Egbuka, back-to-back clunkers coming off that injury. That's not super exciting either. Hope he can find a way to turn it around as we conclude our regular season. If we go down to my flex spot, super pumped to have this guy back in my lineup. Brenton Strange. Extremely excited, not just for this season, but what the future is to come for him. He's 24 years old. I got him in the David Njoku trade with Matt this past offseason, a guy who I very much believed in and had really good numbers before having that long-term injury earlier on in the season. Super, super happy to have him back and hope he can make a difference. And then on my bench, Chimere DK getting some really good volume. That's another guy, though, who I'm confused as to whether to play him or not. You see, that's the numbers, but that's not the whole story. He had a special teams touchdown this week as well, which adds into that 21-point total. For a guy who I picked up off the scrap heap following our draft, definitely someone who I'm excited about, what the future could look like, but it's Tennessee. Things are just going to be a carousel and a revolving door for the next year or so. Talk about game balls this week and who I gave my game balls out to. I really just gave one. It was to Darnell Mooney and actually to Brenton Strange coming back from the injury as well. A couple of guys who I put toward the bottom of my lineup that really showed up when I needed to the most. JP, your thoughts, whether on my side, Ty's side, or both?
Yeah, if we freeze frame this right right here, you would expect this matchup to have been a lot closer. In fact, you would probably think that Ty won this matchup if we were just looking at these 5 players right here. Instead, Ty lost by 40, or I guess 32. But just one thing I really want to highlight. What a great trade, Ty. Phenomenal. 2 firsts for Jordan Addison. It's always good to give up 2 firsts for the wide receiver 2 on a team with no quarterback. That usually works out. Monroe St. Brown is insanely good at this football thing or whatever we call this sport. Yeah, good win for you, Andy. I don't want to speak any ill will, but the playoffs are getting closer and closer for you for sure. I will say though, Ty probably has found something with Parker Washington. I imagine that. They have Jacoby Myers, Travis Hunter, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas Jr. And did I say Travis Hunter? I don't know.
Yeah.
But and De'Ami Brown. So they have 5 playable, solid wide receivers. Someone's not going to be there next season. And it's
Could
probably
argue maybe 2 of them.
Yeah, it's probably going to end up being Brian Thomas Jr. and De'Ami Brown, if I had to guess. If not Jacoby Myers. But my guess is no matter how you pair up the 2 of them, Brian Thomas Jr. probably isn't going to be a Jaguar next year unless they plan on playing Travis Hunter at corner full time. Anyways, Ty's definitely found something with Parker Washington, and Quinshon Judkins finds the end zone twice. Inefficient, but still like to see the 2 touchdowns. That's what fantasy's about. So, and Judkins has been worth every penny he paid for him up to this point. So, that's the good stuff. And the one worry I have on your team, Andy, is I thought it was a problem pre-draft. It wasn't early on in the season, but Emeka Egbuka as a wide receiver 1, I didn't think it was possible. He came out really hot. Evans got hurt. He put up 2 solid weeks. I'm starting to have a little doubt there. I don't know if he's playing through injury or what it is, but not sure everyone thought he was going to be like this generational alpha after the quick starts of the season. I don't know if that's quite the ceiling we'll ever see from Egbuka, but you certainly have to be a little worried after these back-to-back duds.
Yeah, I'll touch base real quick. JP kind of hit on the run. I'm I'm really concerned about Trevor Lawrence. He looks bad, man. Three interceptions, but then he caps it off with three touchdowns, which is crazy to me. But you know, uh, I don't know. It helps that you have Puka. Puka's gonna get you 15 plus every week. I mean, he's just a machine, man. 11 targets for seven receptions for 97 yards. I don't know how he doesn't find the end zone. It's very odd, but
Because Devontae Adams steals all his touchdowns.
oh, I know, man. I know it's crazy. I mean, Devontae Adams, you can book him for a touchdown every week. I mean, he's gonna get it. Christian Watson, I'm mad he didn't give him to me at the deadline. He's starting to pop off, and that's
I
why I
held
talk.
on to him for a reason, Drew.
I know, Yak, and there's that's my concern of Golden Man because it seems like Watson's taken over that Golden role. I mean, it seems like they drafted Golden because they were worried about Watson like after his injury. So I mean, but he's looking really good. I mean, he's still a deep ball threat and looks very, very good. So yeah, that's all I got.
Alrighty. And we're gonna get to your matchup now, Drew. I want to preface after Drew's matchup, we'll obviously do previews, then power rankings. We're gonna have JP put his Steve Kornacki brain to work on the playoff probables, the backseeds, and how both my matchup this week and your matchup, Drew, kind of impacts the 6 through 8 spots in this league and who's the last man in, who's the first man out of the playoff picture. B, without further ado, a tough loss for you against Boyer this week. You're now 6-6 on the season.
Yeah, I almost got the sit and start right for all my players on my team. It was a hard one this week. I didn't know if I should start Swift or Warren. I was going back and forth, and it didn't really matter. Swift or Warren had 11 points, so I still would have lost by I think 5 points or so, which would have made me even more mad. So I'm glad I didn't start him. Uh, but going to Monday Night Football, man. Just looking at Rico Dowdle, I think he had 11 points. Yeah. I don't understand how he was the best player on the field in the first half and the second half, and he only gets 6 carries. You know, and it's not even me being like yelling at my TV, like, what are we doing? I mean, genuinely, when they handed him the ball or threw him the ball, he was getting 10 plus yards every time. I mean, I don't understand what Canales was doing. And then I saw a clip today that made me even more PO'd, is that he said when they're on the goal line, if you guys remember, when they're on like the 1 yard line, and I think it's 7-3, maybe. I don't know if that was the right score, or maybe 7-0. I don't really remember. Anyways, to this point. He's mic'd up and asked Canales, "Are you come on, give me the ball in the goal line. I'm gonna get in, please, please. Just give me the ball." No, no, we're gonna go another route. And then right after that, Bryce Young throws that dumb freaking pick in the end zone that's nowhere to be found by Mitchell Evans. I was throwing stuff across my room after I saw that, and I was like, "Oh my
Is that
goodness."
real?
Yes, yes.
Really? That mic'd up. I'll have to find that.
Yeah, you'll have to look it
That's
up.
crazy.
I just saw it in NFL, dude. And it just made me even more mad. I was like, "Oh my goodness, dude." But hey, Genty, looking good. 20, not looking good. Let me rephrase that. He's the reception king. He found his way in the end zone this week on a garbage time in tutty, which is very, I can't even say it's shocking because I just see it with the Raiders offense for how bad they are. If you have a Raiders player on your team, they're most likely to score in the end of the third quarter or with 3 minutes left of the game. That's how this offense works, and that's how Genty's touchdowns came in the last 4 weeks. But I really look at this why I lost this matchup. Travis Kelce, 11 points, didn't really have a good game, and then really Romeo Dobbs, 4 points. He's really been really smelly these last 4 weeks. He's been really after he got that chest injury, he's been not the same. I don't know if he's hurt or what, but he just I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't, and you know what makes me even more frustrated is that Jacoby Myers had 0 points going in the second half, and then he finished at 15. So if he even just catches 3 passes, that could have been 7 points. Not that it would have mattered, but
Yeah, you still would have lost.
I don't want to even get into the New England backfield. I'm over it. I don't even. I'm convinced Vrabel did something to or Henderson did something to Vrabel's family members or something. I don't even I I'm convinced I'm convinced it's something whether it's that the locker room or something because he's obviously the best and I'm not even saying this because he's on my team. He's by far the best running back in that room and he's not getting the ball. So I don't know what else there is of that, but I'll lead it off to you guys, whatever you guys gotta say.
Yeah, I want to really go to Boyer's team. Jackson Smith is unbelievable. He's unreal. Every week we come on this show and sing his praises. It's insane what he has been able to do this entire season. 167 receiving yards, 2 scores,
That's
8 of 10. I mean,
ridiculous,
just
man.
awesome stuff, man. Really, what he does in one-on-one coverage is just mind-boggling. I want to look at Cam's running backs though, JP, and this is I want to have a little dialogue here. The fact that he puts up nearly 160 with Taylor and Kyron Williams combining for less than 15 points, that's scary. That is really, really scary.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't looked ahead at Seattle's playoff schedule, but this team runs on JSN, Taylor, and Kyron. And when Kyron and Taylor don't show up to the table, JSN eats their plates anyways. And so, if it was like Frankie's team, the rest of the team's not going to show up, you're going to need someone to go absolutely nuclear. And JSN every week has gone absolutely nuclear. And so, what the hell does it matter? But yeah, I mean, it's certainly scary seeing 160 points and the running back two and what is Williams, the 7th, 10th, are
Yeah.
had scored 6 points and 9 points there. So it's certainly scary. I think we all kind of know we'll probably see Boyer in the championship down the road here. And some other team's gonna have to get hot is the problem. They can't just have a good week to win. They're gonna have to have a great week to win. Boyer's got a good team. Andy, have you got more to say?
Yeah, all I was gonna add more on Boyer was Stafford is so damn good, dude. Sunday
MVP.
night. I mean, I've watched the Rams this year. It's the first time I've really gotten to sit and watch an entire game from Matt Stafford. Yeah, he's the MVP of the league. I really hope he wins it too. I really do. That he should already be a Hall of Famer, right? But I think the MVP puts anyone in the camp of I don't know or definitely not. The MVP for Stafford puts all of those people away. That no doubt cements him in the Hall of Fame. Like I said, I already think he should be in, and he will be in. But anyone who's saying otherwise, the MVP award to his name will instantly erase any opinion they have. Everything is on the money. He's putting things in the bucket. And I saw something online, and this will kind of get into Drew what I have for you. Stafford's touch is so good. Bears fans, a lot of them are saying if Caleb Williams can develop a Matthew Stafford like touch, oh, dangerous stuff. I mean, he's got some of the best touch in the league, and it's fun to watch him every single week. And it's a great guy for Boyer to have. And all I have for you, Drew, both ends for the Bears. Caleb Williams started consistently from a fantasy standpoint, rack up 20 a week. And for you, that's a really good sign for the now and for the future. And I don't think DeAndre Swift could have had a worse fantasy game this past weekend. Seriously, he talked about nothing from Myers in the first half. I'll take your phrasing. If Myers has those 3 catches, and I don't know Swift does anything, this is a lot closer, or you arguably win. So that's tough to say on your end. But you hit everything else, and I got nothing. If you guys are ready to get on to our preview.
Yeah, I was just gonna throw in here real quick to answer your question, JP. JSN for the playoffs has the Colts in week 15, so that'll be a 20 plus for
Well,
him.
he's going to be the 1 seed, so that won't matter.
Okay, so it doesn't even matter because week 16 he has the Rams, so that'll be 20 plus, and then he has if he makes a championship game, which will only be the third place championship game, whatever, he's got Carolina, so at least 30 plus.
Shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, baby.
That hurts.
And plus, since J.C. Horn and I can't think of the other corner just got hurt, I mean he's gonna burnt toast them. I mean he might have 40 plus. So
there were
Yeah.
a couple of things I wanted to touch on. TJ Hawkinson sucks. That's one. Two, yes, I said Matthew Stafford is the MVP. I think that people who grew up rooting for an NFC North team, I think we all love Matthew Stafford. I don't
Even though he
think
was on a rival
Yeah.
team, I love the guy.
I still love him.
Yeah.
I was explaining to Wade that I think literally every NFC North team or like fan when he got traded to the Rams was like, please go in to show how bad Detroit was. It's not a Matthew Stafford thing. It never was. This guy's unreal. The Lions just sucked every year. And then Drew, unfortunately, not only do I think your season is now likely over,
that's over. You can say it's all right.
just to add injury to insult, if you made the playoffs, Travis Kelce plays the NFC West twice, or the AFC West twice, and those are the only games he ever plays good in. So I thought you had a real opportunity there. But unfortunately, Swift, Dowdle, and Myers barely doing anything.
Yeah. And little Susie.
And Dobbs, yes, but I don't expect anything from Dobbs. The other three I kind of do, but
It's so unfortunate, man. I still it's what's gonna haunt me, dude. Is freaking Yak losing the map, bro. Dude, his team is so bad. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
You think I wanted to lose that game, Beeve?
His team
You
is
think I want to
so
lose?
bad. I don't even want to
Yeah.
get into it because I'm gonna get fired up and it's not even worth it.
We'll
It's just
dive we'll dive more to the playoff picture when we get to the power rankings later on in the show. But for now, it is the week 13 previews. That's coming your way next here on the Just Beavin podcast.
What is up, everybody? We are back to do our previews now for the week 13. We lost Andy due to a scheduling conflict, so it'll just be me and B from here on out until we get to the power rankings and the pick of the weeks. But without further ado, we will be now sharing into the week 13 schedule. Starting off, we have myself playing Drew's favorite, the Hunley Hicks. And Drew, I'm just gonna ramble on this one for a while.
Go
Yeah,
for it.
this is a big matchup for both me and Luke. We both technically can still win the division here. If Luke wins this, he is likely going to be the 3 seed unless he loses to Boyer next week, which is also highly possible. But this would put Luke in a prime position to at least be the 3 seed and get Matt Hendricks in the playoffs, which is the prime spot to be in right now. This will probably come back to bite either me or Luke in the butt, but I'm sure we both want to play Matt compared to the rest of the teams. I love the matchups that he has. I'm not worried about a lot of them. ETN versus Tennessee is great. Judy versus San Fran is great. Bijan versus the Jets is great. Allen versus Pittsburgh. I mean, all these matchups are to get stifled. I love it. Until we get to Pickens, Olave, and Goddard. I feel like tight ends always slice us up for the Bears. And then Olave versus a terrible secondary. Pickens versus an all right secondary that's been lackluster this year. DJ Moore's likely going to have a stinker versus a good Philly defense. And Tyrod Taylor, I mean, he'll probably get that 14. Not much we can say on that one. And then on the flip side, I love some of my matchups. Kareem Hunt versus Dallas, I love. Brissett versus a beaten up Tampa team, I love. Bowers versus the Charger. There's something about those AFC West tight ends. They always go nuclear when they're playing an in-division game. So we love that. And then Jefferson versus Seattle, I'm so worried about. That has disaster written all over it. But then my two glorious kings, Lamar and Derek, I need to see something out of them against Cincinnati. Beef.
yeah, I don't even know. This is gonna be a beating. I think you're gonna go over your projection. I'll say this now, and no disrespect to you, JP. If Lamar and Henry don't combine for at least 50 points, I am going to hit the panic button on them. And that's just going up against probably the worst defense in the league, let's
Yeah.
be honest. And granted, yes, it's on a Thursday night, and we know we all hate Thursday night games, but I still think it doesn't matter. So, but back to this real quick. I'm just gonna hit right to Luke's receivers. He's starting Jerry Jeudy this week. Big concern right there. I mean, if you're starting Jerry Jeudy in today's game with how, and I'm not saying he's a bad receiver, but for this Browns offense he's a part of, he looks atrocious. And you never know. Maybe he finds a rhythm of Shador, but we'll see. And hopefully he does because I really do like Jeudy. So, Chris Olave, the one thing I do want to take from this matchup, I think he's going to dominate that Miami defense, and I would see him going over his projection. And like you said, Goddard, tight ends always torch us for some reason on our defense. I don't know why. You see it with Hawkinson, and he's terrible. Goddard, I expect him to go over his projection, but I'm still taking you, JP. I think this is Bauer's big week. I really do. I think this is a 30-point week for him. Chargers defense collapses in the second half of the game for some reason. I don't know what the deal is with them. I thought they'd be a lot better than what they are this year. Diggs, Jennings is starting to figure it out. He's going against a tough secondary in Cleveland, so we'll see how that goes. But Kareem Hunt, I don't know why he's only averaging 9 points. He's definitely going to go over that. I think he's had 4 touchdowns in the last 4 games. He's going, and he's going to get one this week. So I don't know. I could be, yep, 4 touchdowns, and he's going to make it 5 this week. There's no way he's not going to score against that Dallas defense. It's probably going to be a high scoring game. He's going to go over his projection. But Jacoby, going to do Jacoby things, but I'm taking the commissioner's crew here.
Yeah, and I do just want to give a quick shout out. Congrats, Luke, on clinching a playoff spot.
Oh,
Hopefully,
jeez.
hopefully the Hunleys Hicks can hoist the belt this year.
Can't wait until
As
it gets
we
blown out.
as we move on to a useless matchup. Expansion on expansion crime. The 7-5 Manziel Mafia taking on the 1-11 Golden Shower. Drew, you can take this one away.
Yeah, I really think Derrick Henry's gonna tear his ACL here, and Keaton Mitchell's gonna take over. He's gonna have 30. No, it's not happening. Like you said earlier, JP, Sampson's looking like the best receiving back in the league right now. I gotta just hope because I need Crook to win this matchup. I just hoping that Sampson gets another receiving touchdown. We'll see. Maybe he'll get a goal line catch. I think Wandell could go over his projection again this week. He's playing New England. They're just a weird team. Some days they show up and some days they don't. And it's on Monday night, so you never know. Uh, I don't know, man. Crook has Marvin Mims on his bench, and you see Pat Bryant taking over that role and Denver as that receiver three. But and I don't want you taking advice from me. That's not fair. I want you to do what you want to do. But I would maybe see in starting him this week. I really do over Golden. I really do think he might find the end zone this week, and I really think his production might go up this week. And I don't they play Washington, who's been awful. That defense has been very bad. So just one broken coverage, and then he could have a 50-yard bomb. So I don't know a snap share what that's been. I'm gonna look right now at it since he's been back from injury. Oh boy, Kruk, just don't listen to whatever I just told you. Never mind. Cancel out everything I just told you. Do what you're doing. The Matt side, he's starting Geno Smith and Bryce Young. I don't know what Bryce Young or Geno's projection is, but they're definitely going under that. And it benefits Matt's team that he has Devontae Adams on his team because he's at least getting one touchdown a game. I mean, we've seen it every week now, these last 4 weeks. He's getting force-fed in the end zone. Portland Sutton, and I don't know what your opinion is on him, JP. I don't know what to think about him anymore. He's been putting up good numbers. He's consistent, I guess. I don't know, but there's just some days he's out there and I'm like, is he really a receiver one or is he really not? Like, we saw early in the season, week 3 and week 4, 23, 19, 17, and then just after that, dud, 2 points. Week 7, he had a little better week, 16 points. Week 8 against a terrible Dallas defense, 10 points. Houston, 10 points. A terrible defense again. Vegas, 5 points. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, they're winning games. Bo Nix has been very underwhelming to say the least, especially from his yards have been fine because he hits the deep balls and he's still throwing a lot of touchdowns, but his completion percentage has been relatively bad this year. And Cortland Sutton's I mean, obviously that's been taking a toll on him. I mean, he's the wide receiver 25, so in our league he's still a wide receiver 2 because 14 teams start one wide receiver, 2 wide receiver would be the wide receiver 15 through 28.
Yeah.
So he's still wide receiver 2 barely. But there's questions to be had certainly, and there is obviously cause for concern on a weekly basis. But I've said this about Matt's team all year is we're looking at a bunch of guys who, outside of Jamar Chase and maybe Josh Jacobs, we're looking at a bunch of guys who can all put up below 10
Yeah.
every week, and that's the plurality with Matt's team. The one thing I will say for Matt's team this week is he said something in the group chat this past week about maybe he'll score over 150 for the first time all season, referring to last week. He's only scored 141. It's his high this year, 141, and we're talking about a playoff team. I do think he goes over this week. Love his matchup. Jacobs is getting in the end zone twice. Williams will probably score versus that KC defense, although they just stifled Jonathan Taylor, but Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are the focal point. Jamar Chase always goes off versus the Ravens. Nico Collins in a divisional game versus Indy. He's got to be on his best, and I think he will be. Like you mentioned, Tay Adams gets in the end zone on a weekly basis. Sutton likely bouncing back. Mechie is the interesting play here. I'll be curious to see what he does in that wide receiver 1 role. He's finally
Yeah.
sitting Montgomery on the bench, which we've been talking about for a while. I mean, yeah, especially Jahmyr Gibbs just going absolutely nuclear this past week. I'm not even sure. It's not even that Montgomery's about a bad back. He's just in a
No.
terrible. He's just in a
Situation.
terrible situation. Yeah, and so, and then Kruk. We're looking at the bottom 3 here of Kruk's flexes. You're hoping Golden, Burden, and Mitchell can all get involved. I still have high hopes for all of them. Warren's been good. Tez Johnson's been all right. Hoping Booty can get back involved. But yeah, Manziel Mafia in an absolute landslide here.
I'm taking golden showers.
Taking golden showers. Are
I
you gonna do
really
that on a
am.
weekly basis?
I am. You know what? Just scroll down real quick. I want to show you what I really benefit from this matchup. Matt has, I believe, he has four guys going Thursday. He's got Andrew, Javante Williams, CD, or not CD, Jamar Chase, and there's someone else I'm forgetting, I think. Maybe it's just three.
Jacobs.
And Jacobs. He's got three guys going on Thursday, or four guys going on Thursday. If they have below 40 points, which is very likely, there's a good chance Kruk could pull this out. Because if we scroll down, and you laugh, I'm not even joking, Tez Johnson, I think he goes over his projection. Adonai Mitchell, I think this could be a big week for him going against the Atlanta defense that's been very poor. Luther Burden, we go against Philly, who's pretty good, but I mean his role's expanding, and he has not found the end zone lately. He hasn't found the end zone since week 2, I believe, right? When he had that
Um,
trick play.
yep,
Yeah, so he's due for a touchdown. I really this will be a sneaky matchup for Matt. And what makes me so mad, JP, is that if Matt played anybody outside of Dade last week, if you and Crooks switched positions from last week, he would have lost.
yep, yep,
So
yep, yep.
so
I also forgot to include Andy's picks on the last two matchups. Andy's taken me to beat Luke, and now he's taking Henny to beat Cameron as we move on to a meaningless matchup. The 10-2 SEAL Team Knicks taking on the 5-7 Scat Squad, who just lost Michael Penix for what's likely to be the year. Yeah, Dade's team's in disarray. The Pearsall for Johnson trade to give up Worthy and receive Johnson and Pearsall looks abysmal. And Frankie's obviously one of the best teams in the league on a week-to-week basis. Unfortunately, I don't have much to say for either of you guys. You know what, Frank? Hopefully you can get the Seattle running back play right this week, but ultimately don't have much to say.
yeah, just want to add the Dade stuff. Michael Penix may never play a football game again for the Falcons. I saw Raheem Morris say that they might be going another direction in this QB class. They might want to draft a quarterback with seeing Penix's injury. It's a lot worse than what they thought it was. So whether that's free agency or whether that's the draft, they could be moving on. Maybe they give Kirk another chance if he performs well. I mean, they signed him to 4 years for 200 plus. So I mean, maybe he gets another shot. But outside of Dade's team, I, dude, and he has your first, which is funny because that's not going to help him with this week's class. I mean, it's awesome that Michael Wilson's starting to play good and whatever, but I mean, he's doing this, JP, with a quarterback that he's never going to play with probably again. Okay, and I could be wrong. Jacoby could be the starter next year, but probably not. Uh, but just looking at some of his guys on this team, Chuba. Will he get a new role next year? I don't know. They signed him a 2-year deal. It's not like they're just going to ship Dottle away. He's been pretty good. I don't know after the encounter he had with Canales on the sideline. Michael Carter, he's not going to be playing. Tim Patrick, that's hilarious just seeing him rostered. Uh, Zacchaeus, I mean, he's been awful. I mean, if we
Doesn't look
just
like this is his final starting. Johnson looks like he'll make his way into the starting lineup. My guess is Tim Patrick ends up on the bench. Not that that helps anything, but
no, but just for instance, like Jack Besh, man, he's been terrible. And now, granted, the Raiders have been freaking god awful, but I thought he'd be a lot better coming out of
yeah, second
college.
round pick. He can't even find his way on the field.
No, it's yeah, man. And then you look at his IR real quick. Sorry, I'm going deep on his bench, but Scattaboo, I mean, he's looking forward to having him back. And then there's a question mark that I want to ask you, Jalen McMillan. Do we see him making this roster next year, or do we think that this is they cut Godwin and this is what Tez Johnson he takes over for Tez Johnson?
I don't know if Tez Johnson can be a week to week starter because of his size, unfortunately. I mean, he's almost unplayable in the run. We saw what happened to Tank Dell, who got hurt run blocking, was his first ever bad injury in the NFL. And I think Tez Johnson, who's even smaller than Tank Dell, same is at the same risk. Obviously, he has to play on running downs because otherwise, if he's out there to pass. But my guess is they keep around McMillan. He's who ends up replacing Godwin and or Evans down the line.
And then I don't think Jonathan Brooks is ever going to play again, right? Like, I mean, that just sucks, man. Can you click on him? I want to revisit that trade actually real quick.
Who am I looking at?
Jonathan Brooks, what he gave up for him.
I can't access Dade's IR from the matchup
Oh,
screen.
you can? Okay. Never mind. Let me look at that real quick then. Give you a little history on him. So Day traded Jonathan Brooks for a first and second from Henny.
Oof.
Yikes. That's
Oof.
yeah, that's wow. Okay. Oh my goodness. That's just wow. Okay. I don't really have anything else on this matchup. I think Frank should win this by a landslide.
Yes, I should also add, unshockingly, Andy also has Frank. As we move on to the Jack and Jack Bull, Jack and the Rippers and Cammy Big Daddy taking on Jack Bauer and May Need Beers. Another useless matchup here as Cam Boyer is going to look to extend to 11-2 and be one win away from breaking the all-time win record in Beaverfest, which is held by Jack Bauer at 11-3. Uh, looking at at Boyers, this is going to be such a blowout. Uh,
Yeah, this is
Looking at Boyer's team, if Terry can come back, you're hoping he looks all right. I doubt they rush him back.
yeah.
Other than that, you have some great matchups here. Stafford at Carolina, Chase Brown at Baltimore, Juwan Johnson at Miami. On the flip, Waddle in New Orleans, JSN versus Minnesota. That secondary has been abysmal. Kyron versus Carolina. We'll see how JT fares against the number one defense in the league. I feel like 22 is a very high projection considering Houston is the best defense in the
I
league right
was
now.
I was also looking at that. That's wild. I want to go down to Jack's team real quick. I laugh at this. I can't believe Kate Otton's getting 12 points. There's no way he's hitting that. No way in heck. There's
What Bridgewater give him? I mean,
9 points last week. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. There's
no, this has been about his projection, I guess, for the last couple
yeah,
of
he
weeks
has
here.
yeah, he hasn't been playing too bad, I guess. Hunter Henry. I don't know. That New York defense has been awful. He's been doing pretty well. Other than
I'll
that,
be I'll be curious to see how they play now. They fired the DC because Shane Bowen's absolutely terrible. He's got best one of the best front sevens ever assembled, and they still can't put any pressure on anybody. So
yeah. These last few weeks after Josh Down's been hurt, he's been not looking too good. And after the bye, actually, he had 1 point in week 10 and 3 points in week 12. The last three
been
weeks
some
been
rough weeks for that offense, though. To be fair,
yeah,
so
yeah. But I don't. I got I'm gonna take Cam here.
yeah, I think we're all taking Boyer. Not even going to look back at me and Andy's chat. I'm just assuming he's taking Boyer on this one. As we move on to Andy's matchup, as he takes on Nuz, LLC, and Zippy. Uh, this is a big matchup, not only for Zippy, as he looks to get a top three seed, even a top four seed at that. This could be a rematch of the 4 and 5s in the playoffs, potentially, depending on what happens with Luke as the season comes to a close. Um, but this could be another playoff matchup. Andy needs this win, as we'll explain further down the road in the power rankings. But there could be some big playoff implications, effectively almost eliminating Drew entirely if Andy can win this matchup. And he's projected to landslide him. Drew, I'll let you start off this one.
Holy cow! For MLB people, Dylan Cease to the Blue Jays for 7 years for $210 million.
Wow.
That is crazy. Wow. Okay, but back to this. Yeah, Barkley, if he doesn't go over his projection, JP, I'm actually hitting the panic button on him. Like that's
I've already hit the panic button. They showed a stat during the game against Dallas, or maybe I watched it and it was on Monday morning. He has at this point in the season last year, he had 33 explosive plays, and he only has 18 this year. And I saw a guy, and I hate to be that guy, but I saw a guy break down some film of him on TikTok, and he's just missing holes like over and over and over and over. And I don't know if there's lack of trust with the line there or what's going on, but I've hit the panic button on him officially.
yeah. You know, I'm not really liking Jake's matchups for this week. Rome, I think he goes over his matchup or whatever you want to call it, projection. But you can scroll down, Kittle going against Cleveland. That's gonna be I don't it'll be with how bad Purdy looked last week, I don't think he's gonna get 17 this week. Loveland, 10 points. I don't know about that one. As much as I love him on the Bears team. Bucky Irvin coming back from an injury. He's been out for what, 8 weeks? Maybe a little less. He's already projected 14 points. That seems like a little too high for me for just coming off an injury. Rodgers playing Buffalo. I could see him going over 15 if he plays, but I don't even know why you rush him. I mean, play Mason Rudolph. He didn't look bad. And granted, he was going against a Bears defense that was atrocious, missing pieces, but we still won. So I mean, I don't know. I'd play him one more week and get Rodgers fully healthy before you come back. You don't want to mess around with that, especially with your QB1. But just for my sake, I think it's gonna be a good matchup. I'm taking Nuz here. But I think Andy's gonna win this one, but I'm taking Nuz here.
Yeah, contrary to your Aaron Rodgers statement, the loss to Chicago last week, they've now thrown away the division lead, are tied with Baltimore and in second. This is a must win as they finish the year with. This isn't going to be extremely accurate, and I'm not looking, but they finished with Buffalo, Baltimore twice, at Detroit. So right there, that's probably 4 games that they're going to struggle to win. And then I load it back up. They still have to play at Cleveland, which isn't just a gimme anymore. And they still play Miami, whose offense could potentially give them troubles. We'll see there. But there's no easy games left for them, really, besides maybe Miami. You can make that argument. And so I think they got to rush Rodgers back. Mason Rudolph didn't attempt a single pass over the middle of the field. Not one single pass was attempted over the middle of the field.
I
Um, I just don't think that's playable, unfortunately. I don't know if it was scheme or what it was, but there wasn't one single pass attempt over the middle of the field. I love a lot of Andy's matchups this week. Keenan Allen, whatever, when it's AFC West versus AFC West, teams always go off. I like Ferguson versus KC. I like the Jaguars versus Tennessee. Smith versus Chicago. I can already see him streaking down the middle of the field, blown coverage by Jaquan Brisker. And then Puka versus Carolina. Breeze versus Atlanta. I love HA versus New Orleans is a match made in heaven. Um, Unfortunately for you, Drew, I think Andy steals this game from Nuz and also steals the 3 or 4 seed from Nuz and gets a win here and keeps chugging along.
No, I don't disagree. But for my sake, I'm gonna take Jake here and cheer for him. It is what it is. This is fantasy football, so
And I'll do my best Andy impression for everyone since we're missing him here. You know, we're on my matchup. I pick myself. I always pick myself. It's what I do. I'm not going to pick against my boys. So Andy's taking himself in this matchup.
that's
As we move on to Wade and Tigers Wood taking on the Typhoons. And this matchup could have draft implications here if Ty gets a win here.
yeah. Mahomes going against the Dallas defense. I think he's gonna have at least 30 points. No BS. I think he's gonna have that. Judkins, San Fran's run D looked pretty good on Monday. I was really impressed with that because they looked a little slackish the last few weeks, and I was really impressed. So, I could see Judkins getting 13 points, but then again, it just depends on what happens. This is Shador's first road game. Or are they home again? Are they home again, or are they on the road?
They are at home.
Oh, they are home. My bad. I there is a world where I see that being close, but then again, I don't. Uh, it just really depends how. In all honesty, it really depends how the Browns' run game is. If it's not working, it's probably going to be a blowout. But if Judkins can get going, it's probably going to be close. I don't know what you think about that, but uh, you know, going down on Ty, RJ Harvey coming back, I expect him to have a nuclear game. I would be hammering all his overs with Dobbins out and how bad that Washington defense front seven's been. I think he's gonna have a monster game. Find the end zone, have 60 plus rushing yards. So that's that. We go over the Wade side. And I'm not even just saying this, JP. I've been really impressed with Matt Collins this year. He's been playing really well. And he's a good blocker. I think he's 6'6", but he's been making some good catches, and he can't seem to find the end zone, but he's at least getting 4 targets or 4 receptions a game. He's not getting the yards, but he's getting the targets and he's getting the receptions, and he looks good, man. I can't even lie. I think he's 27. Maybe he might be a little younger or a little older. I'm just gonna hit 27.
32.
Oh my, I was way off. Sorry guys, I'm doing rough today. But he hasn't been playing that bad. I
No.
actually, for a receiver three, he's been playing really good. And then you look at Wade. I mean, he's got a bunch of guys that can produce. You just never know. Like Darnell Washington, you saw it one week he had 25 points. He's a big boy, and like we saw this week when we played him, it's hard to tackle him. It took 3 guys to tackle him, and when you're that big, it's going to be a lot of people to tackle you. Worthy, you know, I don't know, man. I thought he was a gadget guy, but it doesn't even seem like he's a gadget guy anymore. It seems like he's just a deep threat, and hopefully he's open and he scores a touchdown. So if he doesn't get involved in this game tomorrow, I'm heavily concerned about him. And I don't know what I'll give it to you, but that's just what I think.
Yeah, I actually think Worthy might find the end zone tomorrow. That Dallas defense is flus, and what we remember about flus is there's always, excuse me, there's always going to be one play that takes the top off of the defense. Who better to do it than Xavier Worthy? So I actually like him this week. Plus, I just dogged Wade in the recaps for how bad of a trade it was. So it'll certainly bite me. Tyler Lockett's been a sneaky little pickup here. I don't know why it won't pull up his stats for me. Um,
Can you not see him? I see him.
oh no, it's mine's glitched, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, Tyler. My whole thing is glitched now. Sorry about that. I don't know how it looked on the screen, but I just had some issue there. Now there we go. But anyways, if we look at his targets here, he's getting 6, 3, 5. That's all right. That's good for a flex play, especially for a team of Wade's caliber. There's might be something there with him and Gino to end off this season. Ty, though, I mean, Addison's projected 8 points, and we gave up 2 first. I cannot hit on this one enough. It really stings, and I hate to keep throwing salt in the wound, but oh, come on, man. But like you mentioned, Drew, Harvey and Judkins going to be a fun rookie duo to watch. And then St. Brown versus Green Bay. It feels like St. Brown always goes off versus the divisional team, so that'll be interesting to watch. But I do think this is Worthy's week to find the end zone, and that could make this interesting. But ultimately, I'm going to take Ty to win this.
this could really be a fun matchup because we didn't touch on him either, JP. I could see Gainwell going over his projection as well.
Yeah, that Buffalo defense has been very shaky, especially on the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah. So
Andy is also taking Ty. Drew, did you say you're taking Ty as well?
yeah, I'm gonna take Ty.
And then we get to our last matchup, the Bees matchup himself, the Bandage Beavers, 6-6, taking on 5-7, Ipe Mizuhara and Brady O'Donnell. Drew, your matchup, ramble away.
Yeah, I hope Jalen Hurts goes for 5 points this week just because he's playing our Bears. But you never know with that Philly offense, man. They could look really good and they could blow a 21-0 lead. You just never know. This will be the game where Rico has 30 plus points and it's not even gonna matter. It'll have just because he cried the Canales, which he should, and absolutely he should. It'll have 25 plus carries, 10 receptions, 100 yards on the ground, and he'll have 30 points. I'll be looking back at this match and be like, "Are you kidding me?" And he could be doing he could do this against the Rams off or defense. There's a lot of things that could happen. I do it stinks because I mean this matchup reality is not really gonna it's not gonna matter. I have a lot of good matchups this week. The Giants defense has been pitiful. I'd expect Henderson to have a good game. CD Shoemaker said that they're going to feed him the ball and get him very involved. And he said, and I quote, Andy Reid, or he might have been saying to Spag, I would be very concerned about facing CD on Thursday. I don't know if you saw that quote or not, but he said something along those lines. Uh, Genty, and I don't even know if he's going to play this week. If he does, awesome. If he doesn't, oh well. Uh, but Travis Kelce, he always seems to thrive in primetime, JP, and I love it. And I'm not even saying this. He's 36. I think he's going to play one more year. I really think
Oh, gross.
I think he's playing one more year. You think he's done?
I do.
I don't think he's done. I think he's got one more year. I'm taking my team, but I'm gonna go with the Brady's team real quick, JP. I am really impressed with AJ Barner. I'm really impressed with him this season. I thought Elijah Aurora was gonna be the guy as who Brady also has on his team. He's impressed me a lot, man. He's taken over that tight end one, and he's been thriving, man. So shout out to him. And if Brady wants to win this matchup, and I hope he does, I want a competitive matchup. I would maybe want to start Jameis this week for how much he throws the ball. He had 32 points last week, so
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting. It's hard to go against Darnold and I guess Purdy. Purdy's going up against Cleveland. There could be
yeah,
an outlet there to bench Jameis. But like you mentioned, Barner, that's a great acquisition by Brady, especially already having Arroyo and Arroyo not doing anything to go and get the starter that hopefully Arroyo can replace. I didn't like Arroyo a whole lot coming out of Miami. Too slender to play at the NFL. as a tight end, but Rashee Rice is the shit. I love him so much. Maybe not as the operator of my vehicle, but I do love him as an NFL wide receiver. But yeah, ultimately, I'm taking you to win, Drew, and Andy is also taking you to win this matchup.
Awesome.
That will do it for us and the previews. We will now send it back over to Andy to lead us through the power rankings, and then over to Beeve for the picks of the week.
We now get to our week 13 power rankings with a little touch of Steve Kornacki Jr. That's right. We can finally start looking into seeding. It is about that time. We would have had it last week. JP couldn't make the show, but he is with us. We got a full panel as well for the first time in a couple of weeks here on this week's show. JP, I'm seeing a lot of green and red on the screen, and I know that has a lot of implications for what the playoff picture could truly look like with 2 weeks remaining in the regular season.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when I woke up Tuesday morning and launched Sleeper for the first time that morning, and it gives you the little countdown to the playoffs, playoffs approaching 15 days, whatever hours, and men's sex. And I was like, yes, we are finally to what makes fantasy football so great. And I first want to give a round of applause to Cam Boyer for being the first one, not only to clinch a playoff spot, but also clinching the first ever division title for Bruised Belligerents and Beavers. He has won that with a win over Drew and a zippy loss to Frank. So tying that into the power rankings, I mean, the first team to clinch a playoff. He's been one for, I think, about 3 or 4 weeks now. And he's kind of unanimously been the best team in the league for, even though we were keeping him at 2, I think it was just more of a, the names on my roster and coming off the championship, but I think we all unanimously agree that Boyer's team. I mean, we just had a dialogue about how good Boyer's team is before we resumed the recording. But and then a big shout out to the next 4 teams for all clinching a playoff spot. And Frank, me, Luke, and Zippy. Luke moves up a spot. And I'm going to be totally honest with everyone. I know we just went through the recaps, but when I was putting my power rankings together, I didn't factor a single game in from the previous week that we just played. And so I really I don't even remember going over Luke's matchup, really. So I don't even know what Luke scored. So me personally did not feel like moving Luke up. Does anyone want to tell me why they moved Luke up?
Luke put up
I
142 to answer your question.
Okay. So it was a points thing, 8, because I know
Yeah.
Zippy put up 134. I do recall that. I was just going off roster talent.
No, I agree. I mean, his
There
team's
really wasn't much movement here besides, if you look at it, it's just a guy went up and the guy who was in front of him went down one spot. Beeve, you stayed the same. I feel like you've been at 6 since week fucking 7. Like, it's been forever since you've been any higher than 6 or any
I
lower. No matter
yeah.
what me and Andy seem to rank you, you always seem to find your way at 6. Andy moving up again to 7. I wish that was the playoff field if we were basing this off the top 7 teams in the league. Uh, Fortunately, though, Matt is going to make the playoffs. Well, or unfortunately, who you are.
Dude, this team is so bad. Oh my God, bro.
Yeah, but there are the power rankings. I don't really think we need to go through those. I would like to highlight some of the playoff things that we kind of have going here. I think
Yes, please do.
Yeah, I think the power rankings kind of speak for themselves. And if anyone has questions, feel free to comment or hit our line.
Yeah. I do want to say, shout out Brady. I gave you love this week, man. I put you above Ty because I felt
Oh
like
yeah,
that
Brady,
was
you
well
did
deserved.
get some love this week from Andy. So shout out that. But yes, okay. So as I mentioned, the power rankings 1 through 5 are indicative of what, not seeds, but what teams have already clinched a playoff spot. Cam is locked into the 1 or 2 seed. In theory, Frankie can drop. He's likely going to finish as the 2 seed as he finishes the year out with Dade and Brady. Those are probably going to be 2 wins. He'll likely finish 12-2 and be the 2 seed. Unless he magically goes on a run and scores 300 points in back-to-back weeks, he would need to outscore Boyer and finish with more points by the end of the year, as they don't have a head-to-head matchup. So that'd be the only way there's a flip-flop in the seeding. But those are likely your 1 and, well, Boyer is automatically 1 and 2. Frankie's likely to be the other opposite of that, the 1 or the 2. I am ahead of Luke and Zippy. I'm ahead of Luke. We have the same record because of head-to-head in that one. I'm 9-3. Luke's also 9-3. I play Luke this week, and that will probably determine who is the 3 seed, as we both have, or well, I shouldn't say Luke has a throwaway game. Luke has Boyer next week. So there still could be some things here or there that move Luke, but he is trailing me by 130 points in points for. I don't see him passing me. It is likely that I'm going to finish this season as the 3 or the 4 seed. The only other person who has an argument would be Zippy as the 3 or the 4 seed. He's going to get second in the Brews, Belligerents, and Beavers division. Likely. Andy, I'm not sure. I can't recall. Is this your first matchup versus Zippy or second?
Second. He beat me
Did
in
you
week
win?
1.
Okay. So unless, well, you do have more points for. It is highly
Yes, I do.
possible. It is actually highly possible then that you could still be as high as the 4 seed. So scratch me on what I was about to say, that Andy or that Zippy's pretty much locked in. Do you have a free win? Oh yeah, you have a
I
free
played
win.
Jack in week 14.
Week
So
14 is basically bye week, so
well, unless you're Luke or Cam Boyer.
yeah.
But I will say that Andy, you still have the potential to be as high as the 3 seed then if I were to lose out and you
And
were to
there's
win
still the
out.
world where I don't make the playoffs. I love that.
Yep.
I
So
love that.
it's grossly disgusting. But Andy, yeah, you're likely to be either you're likely to fall between the 4 and the 7, I guess. But if you beat Zippy, then you're likely to be between the 4 and the 7 is ultimately what's going to end up happening here. Luke is pretty much locked into the 5 seed. It is possible that he drops all the way to the 7 seed, but he's got, I think he doesn't have the tiebreaker over Matt. So, oh boy, there are so many scenarios between the 4 and the 7. There's just so much that
Yeah.
can still happen. Next week I will really pull out the sheet with all that tracks all the wins, the losses, the bracket, what we need to see here or there. But there's still a chance Matt misses the playoffs and Luke is clinched into the playoffs. So it's honestly wild because Luke can be as high as the 3 seed at this point, and technically he can be as high as the 2 seed still at this point in time. Really, he could be the 1 seed. I mean, there is still
It's
so much
crazy.
that could happen. And then Luke can. I don't think Luke can be any lower than the 6 seed. The last time I checked, I don't think he can get any lower than that. Then we drop down to Zippy, as we mentioned with Andy. Zippy can be anywhere from the 3 seed all the way down to the 6 seed as well. He has clinched a playoff spot, though. There will be no throwing out of Zippy. So unfortunately, the streak of no playoffs for Zaparo has ended. It's been a long journey for him, but a
Only took him
well-earned
4
one at
years.
this. That's a well-earned one at this. Beeve with the sunglasses on, the wife beaters. Jordan, stay far away when he starts drinking. Don't want anything happening there. Physically, I'm speaking only in hyperbole. Drew would never do such a thing. Unfortunately, Drew lost this week, dropping him to 6-6. Drew finishes his season with Brady, and he finishes his season with Cam. So Drew is likely to finish the season 8-6. The problem with that is both Matt and Andy are 7-5. Drew does hold the tiebreaker over Matt, but he does not hold it over Andy. Now, why is that an issue? Because Matt beat Andy, causing Andy to drop to 7-5, and Matt finishes this season with 2 free wins. So what else does that mean now? Well, if we were just to look at projected score, oh my God, Andy, your projected score 170 points this week, 165 points. What the hell? Okay, well,
My team's not terrible on paper. They just never show up.
I was gonna say we're going off project. Okay, if we were basing this off record and who were to win that game, that way this sounds a little better. Andy would likely finish 8-6. Drew would likely finish 8-6. But because Matt beat Andy, Matt has 2 throwaways, likely throwaways, as he finishes the season with Cam Crook in week 13 this week, and then Wade in week 14. Matt will likely finish 9-5. Andy owns the tiebreaker over Luke. Drew will likely go 8-6 and miss the playoffs, which will be the best a team has ever finished and missed the playoffs in this league, which is just truly, unfortunate, so sad. The only likely way that Drew makes the playoffs is if Drew wins out, which he likely will, and Wade's team or Jack's team in week 14 pull an upset versus Andy,
I can already tell
or
you, Jack doesn't have a quarterback in week 14.
the
So
only way Drew makes the playoffs is if Wade beats Matt in week 14. Otherwise, the playoffs are pretty much set in stone as we eliminated Ty, Brady, and Dade all were officially eliminated last week. So it's really just some seeding at the top here. The same 8 teams are the only 8 that can make it. We have 5 teams set in stone. There's only 2 spots left between Andy, Beeve, and Matt. It's likely to be Matt as the 6th seed, Andy as the 7th seed, and Drew just missing the playoffs. Again, if I haven't made this clear enough, with the best record of a team to ever miss the playoffs. Drew, if you have any comment on that, feel free. Please keep it PG, but we understand the frustration, and some of us are just deeply saddened that we won't get to play you in the playoffs.
devastating, really.
I'm sure you are, man. Yeah, yeah. Freaking two not even 1 point losses, and freaking I'm not even getting into it. Let's get going.
Well,
I will say, shout out my guys. If we can find a way, I'll have made the playoffs all 4 years in this league, which is fun and special. So hey, doesn't matter though. You get a seat at the table, man. We've learned that's all that matters. First 2 years of this league, the 7th seed, the final team in, won the championship. Drew was one of those teams.
I was only the 3 seed last year, so
Yeah, the seating, you just need a seat at the table, and then you can really get going from there. Steve, we still got one more thing to do before we round out the show. Our picks of the week. The floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, we do our picks this week. We give out 3 picks, so we'll see how we do. JP, what do you got?
My favorite pick I think I've ever given on this
Wow.
podcast. I airballed last week. I'll be the first to admit it. I was not riding the Shadur Sanders train. It was a trap line anyways, and normally I love the traps, but just was not riding the Shadur train. This is going to pain me to say, but my play of the week is Green Bay Packers money line plus 120 in Detroit.
Wow.
I don't care about week 1 or what happened week 1. That was not the same Lions team that we're seeing right now. What I do care about is history. And what does history tell me? The Detroit Lions have never, ever, ever won a football game when the moon is in waxing gibbous form. This happened 3 years ago or 2 years ago. Might have been 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, if anyone recalls, during Pick'em, when the Packers were having a relatively down year at the time. And I was the only one who took Green Bay because of the waxing gibbous. And here we are 3 years later or 2 years later. I don't even remember what it was. The Packers are in Detroit again on Thanksgiving. The moon is positioned to be in waxing gibbous form, and the Detroit Lions have never, ever won an NFL game when the moon's in waxing gibbous. Give me the Packers plus 120 on the money line.
All right. Yak, what's your pick?
I didn't want to do a Thanksgiving game at first, but I really just couldn't find anything on Sunday that I loved. The closest thing was the Rams spread, but still that was 10.5 points, and that is way too many points to lay, especially for a pick like this. I'm going to go money line as well. This is a 3-point spread in the Chiefs-Cowboys game. Give me the Chiefs money line. They're on the road. Their backs were against the wall last week against Indy. They found a way to get it done in overtime on the road. I guess I would do the spread, but you know what? We're in this thing to see the ball go through the hoop, not the other way around. I'll take their money line. They're going to continue to play like their season's on the line because that's exactly what it is. And I'll take them straight up. Do want to mention as well my pick last week, Bears minus 2.5. That did cash at home. JP in attendance against Wade's Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, and let's just keep the Thursday day going and rolling. So you guys better watch this video when it comes out tomorrow morning because all our plays this week will be in the Thursday Thanksgiving slate. So hope you
Gobble,
guys
gobble, gobble, gobble.
hope you guys are very thankful for who you got and eat a lot of food and hope your belly's like Santa Claus. So we'll get right into it. I am going to take another touchdown scorer this week. It didn't work out last week. I took Rashid Shaheed, and I should have stuck with my boy JSN, but I got a little too fancy, which it happens. It's okay. But I'm going to take a Lamar Jackson rushing touchdown this week at plus 235.
Please, God, hit.
I'm really liking this. He hasn't scored since he's been back from the injury, and I'm really thinking he scores this week. So that's my play this week.
All righty, there you have it. Our picks of the week, one from each game on the Thanksgiving slate. So something to watch out for. Earlier this week, we get Black Friday football as well. Our Chicago Bears are out east taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, reigning Super Bowl champions, 2 o'clock Central Time on Friday. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning into this episode of the Just Beavin podcast. Thankful for all of you for tuning in each and every week. And we will catch you a week from now, same place, same time, right here on the Just Beavin podcast.